They said she was born with her eyes already open. That when she took her first breath, the candles in the room flickered. That the chickens outside flew into the trees, and the family's only goat stopped eating for 3 days. Her mother, weak and bleeding, stared at the newborn in her arms, and felt no joy. Just silence. A heavy, watching silence. They named her Omalora. But the midwife muttered another name under her breath, Ajok Oku, the one who came back. From the beginning, the child was different. She didn't laugh when other babies laughed. She didn't cry when she was hungry. She simply stared. She stared at empty chairs. Stared at the corners of rooms. Stared at the walls as if something behind them was whispering to her. And maybe it was. When Omalora was 2, she began to hum. Not nursery rhymes, not songs she could have learned from anyone. These were old melodies. Tunes her great-grandmother once recognized as burial songs, songs no one had sung in 60 years. At age 3, she told her mother not to use the bathroom that morning. There's someone standing behind the door, she said, rubbing her tiny hands together. There was. A snake, called, still, waiting. At 4, she began speaking to herself. But when her mother listened closely, she heard a second voice. Low. Raspy. Male. Omalora would pause, nod, then respond, like she was in conversation. One day, she pointed to a mirror and said, "He said this is how they watch us." Her mother broke the mirror the same night. But it was already too late. By the time Omalora turned 5, the neighbors were whispering. She spoke about people who had died before she was born. Described accidents, illnesses, betrayals. Named secrets buried in graves. She told the woman who sold Akora that her husband was cheating, described the other woman's scarf, her perfume, and the letter she hid under her bed. Omalora had never met her. She told an old man the name of the friend he buried in 1962. And that the friend never forgave him. She said it casually. As if commenting on the weather. And always, after these moments, Omalora would grow quiet. Almost afraid. "It's getting louder," she told her mother. "They won't stop talking." "Who?" her mother asked, already trembling. Omalora looked up. "The ones no one else can hear." They moved away from the village. From Aroromia to Ibadan. From Ibadan to Elisha. But the voices followed. Because they weren't tied to the house. They were tied to her. At age 10, Omalora stopped sleeping through the night. She would wake up screaming, gasping, covered in cold sweat. She began to draw strange symbols on her walls. Circles. Spirals. Faces with no eyes. She said they visited her in her dreams. That they lined up outside her room like beggars at a shrine. Some just want to be heard, she said. But some want more. What did they want? She wouldn't say. Then came the first possession. It happened on a Sunday. She was sitting at the back of the church, quiet as always. The choir was singing. The congregation swaying. Suddenly, Omalora stood up, eyes rolled back. She walked to the pulpit. No one stopped her. She picked up the microphone and spoke in perfect French. No one in the church understood it, until a woman visiting from Benin fainted. Omalora had said the woman's father was standing behind her. That he forgave her for poisoning him. That he would no longer haunt her dreams. The woman confessed before the whole church. After that, the villagers stopped calling Omalora a gifted child. They started calling her I. Not a name. A warning. It meant she was not entirely human. People stopped letting their children play near her. Crossed the road when she walked by. Even her own mother began to pray louder. Burning incense. Salt. Oil. Chalk circles under her pillow. But Omalora could still hear them. The dead. Always whispering. Always watching. At age 13, she began to change. She spoke less. Ate less. Her skin grew pale. Her eyes darker. She said the dead had started asking her questions, asking her to pass messages, to perform favors. When she refused, they punished her. She would wake up with bruises in the shape of fingers, scratches along her spine, words etched into her walls that faded before others could see. She said, "They want a door." A door to what? Her mother asked. To come back. At 14, Omalora disappeared for 5 days. When she returned, she was barefoot, soaked, and covered in white chalk. She wouldn't speak, wouldn't eat, wouldn't blink. She spent the next week sitting cross-legged, drawing in silence. When her mother finally confronted her, Omalora said only one thing. "I opened the door a little." That night, the dreams began for others in the compound. People woke up crying. Some couldn't remember what they had dreamed. Others saw the faces of dead relatives floating above their beds. One man walked into the river and drowned, claiming his dead wife had caught him. They said it was madness. But everyone knew. It started with Omalora. The door had been cracked. At 15, she was invited by a wealthy family to help them communicate with their late father. They flew her to Abuja, put her in a room with his portrait and personal effects. She sat still for 2 hours, then spoke in his voice. Word for word, she described secrets only the family knew. She told them who had forged the will, where the hidden land documents were, and what his final regret was. She became famous. They brought her to palaces, to churches, to criminal cases. But Omalora was dying. Every message took something from her. Her health declined. She coughed blood. Her fingers trembled. She said the voices were changing, that they weren't just dead anymore. Some of them had never been alive. "They are older than death," she whispered one night. "Older than language." "What do they want?" her mother asked. Omalora looked out the window. "They want to wear me." She vanished days later. No trace. No scream. No struggle. Just gone. All they found was a mirror in her room, covered in fingerprints. None of them hers. And in the mirror, written in fog, "We are listening. We are many." People claim to still hear her voice. In dreams. In radio static. In church bells. She speaks gently. Softly. But the messages are darker now. Not comfort. Not closure. But warnings. And if you listen closely enough, you'll hear her say, "I opened the door. You cannot close it." So if a girl with deep eyes ever tells you something only the dead should know, don't ask how she knows. Don't ask who sent her. And above all, don't ask if she's alone. Because the dead are listening. And now, they answer. Subscribe for part 2.